let's see. So also this week, a 3-hour interview with between Shannon Sharp and Mo'Nique
Mm-hmm.
happened,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed it.
Did you?
I did. Um, I didn't know how it was going to be because a lot of the interviews that I've watched of Monique previously, I really
Mm-hmm.
didn't like. And
Mm-hmm.
then I thought Shannon
My
Sharp,
sweet
right?
babies.
And then I thought Shannon Sharp was looking for another viral moment instead of because the Cat Williams just happened,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Cat went there with nothing to promote,
Yeah,
and he was locked and loaded with insults.
right. But it went viral because it's just I'm interviewing Cat Williams
Mhm.
today.
And also, to their credit, the last big interview Cat had was with Wanda Smith, which again, he wasn't supposed to even be getting
Yeah,
interviewed. Well, not again, but he wasn't supposed to be getting interviewed, but he wasn't coming in there to promote anything.
yeah,
It was just this,
right.
you brought me here, like, what's up?
Yeah. So that was the thing for me coming into like seeing, oh, okay, he got her on. I didn't like her previous a few of her previous interviews.
Hmm.
And I was just curious to see what happens, right?
What's the comedian's name that's a pharmacist? LeVar?
Levar, yeah. I can't remember his last name.
LeVar
Oh, he
commented.
responded?
He commented on a shade room post that had clips, and he was like, "My sweet baby Monique, what is it that you want?
Right,
What is your end game?"
right. But no, it was a solid interview, and I have to commend Shannon Sharp on the questions that he was asking and how in tune with his research, how in
Mhm,
tune he was with the actual interview
mhm.
and everything like that.
This one was less
Chaotic,
chaotic
yeah, yeah, yeah,
with his questioning, his
yeah,
line of questioning.
yeah,
Like he literally was in the
yeah.
conversation.
I love the fact that he is getting better. Like that's the thing about it, right? I love to see when myself included, when people get better at something that they're doing.
Hmm.
You know, because it proves that they're working, they're actually doing. What did she say?
I turned Mo out a long time ago and had no intention of watching, but it auto played and I was hooked. It clarified why she feels the way she does about things that have happened, at least for me.
Yeah,
Um,
same feeling.
I knew why she felt the way that she did because I've watched other things that
Yeah.
she's done. Like I watched her interview with T.S. Madison.
Hmm.
Um,
See, I didn't know anything about that interview until she said it.
I watched it because I was trying to figure out the premise of T.S. Madison's show.
Oh, okay.
Like I do that a lot. Like when people get big opportunities, um, and the opportunity doesn't seem like it fits the person.
Hmm.
I I watch to try to see, is this going to come together, especially when it's like a a talk show
Yeah,
type space,
yeah,
because like I grew up watching talk shows. I like talk shows,
yeah,
and I was just trying to figure out T.S. Madison's
yeah,
vantage point because I thought that the Queen's Court or Queen Supreme Court is what it ended up becoming fit T.S. Madison.
yeah,
I didn't understand this Fox Soul
yeah.
show that
I
was
ain't,
put together.
I've never watched anything on Fox
And I
Soul.
can understand why you wouldn't. Like, no, I completely understand why
Yeah,
you wouldn't, but
yeah.
that's why I
I got you.
watched that.
Oh, he talking about yeah.
I believe I can fly. We had to sing that in elementary
We
school.
did fifth grade
Yep.
graduation. Yep.
They
See another R. Kelly thing. But now,
didn't look, they did not know.
no, they didn't. But the interview itself, right? When
Mhm.
she was talking about Oprah, Tyler Perry, Tyler Perry,
Tyler Purr.
yeah, you heard Baltimore,
Baltimore came out.
it
Tyler
did.
Purr.
Uh, D.L. Hughley
Hmm.
and Tiffany Haddish.
Hmm.
Like what really brought me to the interview was the headlines of, oh, she went at Tiffany Haddish, but she didn't say anything that, she basically said if you had better friends, You wouldn't have,
Not even better friends, a better support system.
yeah, you wouldn't have the DUIs,
Mm-hmm.
which is true. Go around the other way. Go around the other way.
Go this way.
Other way.
Go this way.
Today.
I know you hear me.
Good grief.
Yes.
But yeah, so if why does she have the
I
tablet?
don't know. Go. Take it back upstairs.
But if she had better support, she wouldn't have the DUIs.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. Because somebody has to be able to say, "Hey, I got you."
Mm-hmm.
You know. Also, what she brought the thing about the grooming
Mm-hmm.
thing she did
With
um
Aries.
with Aries, and she doesn't have a husband
Mm-hmm.
for somebody to say something like, don't take advice from a person that doesn't have
Mm-hmm.
hadn't been in that shoe
Mm-hmm.
before, you know. And I was like, you're right.
There is some right in every dig,
Yeah,
I think,
yeah,
that she made. I probably would have taken that same approach though, because if you say that you can't have a husband like mine, girl, you don't have one at all.
right, right.
So we can shut that down.
Like I don't like it when people say, like for us, right? We started off with our August love story is our love story. Everything happened in August. We got
Mm-hmm.
married. We met each
Until
other
we
in
had this
August.
second baby in
We had the
July.
second baby in July, but you know, to each his own. Our first baby was born in August. You know, a lot of things happened in August, so August love story makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about relationships and things we're going through or we go through just because it may not be the same. It may be a Thursday and we did it on a Monday, or you know, or something even greater than that. It's different players in the game, but the same scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody's marriage, every person, everything is different. And what works for you may not necessarily work for us. And what works for us may not necessarily work for you. And that's what that is. So I hate it when people try to generalize, like nobody should be getting beat on, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Certain things is like, you know, it's a no-go, but it's like, man, like if like the thing her calling her husband daddy does not bother me at all. But
That's, I just put
oh,
Deshaun's
okay.
comment up there. She should have been quiet.
The thing that doesn't bother me at all because that's the way they roll in their relationship.
Well, okay. So there's one other prominent woman who
Yeah,
calls her husband daddy, Dr. Heavenly.
yeah,
And I laugh because people are so irritated by Dr. Heavenly calling her husband daddy, and her literal reason makes all the sense in the world. She has a son who has the exact same name.
mm-hmm,
She said when he was first born, she used to say Damon, and both of them would come.
yeah,
So then she said, not you, the daddy.
yeah.
And it just
It makes
became
sense. Yeah,
daddy
and
and
Damon. Yeah,
Damon.
makes sense.
Makes all the sense in the world. And if you've been doing this for 30 years, it's not a sexual connotation
Yeah,
to it because it's literally to differentiate.
like
I
her.
I decided that, well, actually Tommy decided it, but we would call quad. But it used to be confusing when your dad and your granddad were in the same room
Yeah,
with me.
yeah,
And I say
yeah,
with me because I call all three of y'all Tommy.
yeah,
So it then became the granddaddy, the daddy,
yeah,
and Tommy.
yeah,
But everybody has their things to differentiate
yeah.
people. And that's where Dr. Heavenly's came from.
Right. I was
Now
gonna say,
Mo'Nique saying this man raised her. I can't get down with that, but that's on you.
and right. That's why I was like, it doesn't bother me because that's what she says is she calls him daddy because he helped her grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whatever. You know, that's how y'all roll in your marriage. That's how y'all roll. It doesn't really matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the biggest thing that was confusing to me was when she was talking about Tyler Perry and that he owes her some money. And we had that discussion.
Can I give
Yeah, go
the
ahead. Go ahead.
disclaimer?
Go
So
ahead.
Tommy felt like Mo'Nique said that Tyler Perry owed her some money, and I felt like Shannon Sharp inserted that as an idea, and she was like, "Yeah," because in Monique's conversation of what she wanted from Tyler Perry was an apology,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he was like, "Do you feel like he owe you some money?" Well, yeah, he kind
But
of do.
he also asked, and this is what was throwing me off with the money part. And he asks, if he apologizes, do you still want him to give you to compensate you? And she was like, yeah. I was like, why not? Like, if the compensation is a non-negotiable for you,
Hmm.
sue him for it. But I don't think she like. I don't. You're saying you should. He owes you money because he lied. He basically said she's difficult to work with, and that was a lie. He
Hmm.
admitted that he lied about that, and that's what has caused her not to be able to work the way she was. Because she was like she's bringing in $2 to $3 million a year.
Hmm.
He lied, and that tremendously dropped
What?
after she won the Oscar for her performance. And history says that you win the Oscar, you finna get paid a lot of money to be in stuff.
Well, what I was thinking was, well, from, and I've watched Monique on several things talk about this because
Yeah, that's what she talks about.
that's she ain't promote nothing or talking about nothing without talking about this,
Tyler
right?
Perry, Oprah,
Tyler Perry, Oprah,
and now
and Lee
D
Daniels.
and now DL Hughley.
Now Lee Daniels has gotten removed from the
Yeah,
conversation, and it's Tyler Perry and Oprah.
yeah, and
So,
DL Hughley.
in other interviews that she's talked about this, I have not once seen her ask for compensation or say that she
Yeah,
felt like she should be
yeah.
compensated. That's why I feel like this was a
Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp insertion. And it became a, you know what, you right, Shannon.
I I don't know. Like when I hear compensation and you say, yeah, he still owe me, you need to be able to prove that he actually owes you. Because the thing about it is, you want to be compensated, or the compensation comes from unearned money
Hmm.
or unearned revenue
Hmm.
that like you didn't get.
Hmm.
Now, not saying that you wouldn't have gotten,
Hmm.
but you didn't get these roles that would have paid you the money. Now your value went down based off of a lie, so you can sue for defamation
Hmm.
and get some money. But uh, play the Tyler Perry recording.
And that's the thing. I've seen it. I didn't listen to it, but I saw that somebody had it and posted it on YouTube. I would like to know who has done right by her.
My
Not to negate
goodness,
her complaints, but has she ever had a positive experience in Hollywood?
right?
Um,
For her to want to still play in Hollywood,
well, I'll say that I think that should have been a question
I never thought about that
that was
question.
asked.
Yeah,
Because she's done countless other things.
play the Tyler Perry tape.
Like she was in Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins.
Yeah,
That's a direct relationship with Martin.
yep.
What else has Monique
She had a
played
bad
in?
experience in Almost Christmas
The
with
trailer.
with Will
Yeah, with Will Packer, and
yeah,
then the trailer caught on fire.
yeah.
And she posted that video. I did see
Did you?
that. Um, I'm
Fat
trying to
Girls. I
think
ain't never
of.
seen that.
I don't. She did playing Fat Girls. I remember that. Um, I've not.
All these moves are after the Precious, right?
Precious was in 2009. Fat Girls was before. Welcome Home Roscoe Jenkins was before.
Oh,
So since Precious, she has done Blackbird, Bessie, Interwoven, Almost Christmas, The Reading, which was a BET Plus movie. It just came out last year, and then she has Deliverance coming out this year
oh, okay.
or sometime soon. It's in post production right
Yeah.
now. Now, never heard of her having issues on the Parkers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she only did a handful of episodes for Moesha.
Mm-hmm.
because Moesha was what got her to
That
Parkers.
was
Like
the Parkers was the spinoff.
more so, it was Countess
Yeah,
that got the show, and then Mo'Nique was just inserted as her mama.
yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think of what else. And then she had her TV show, like her
Talk
talk
show.
show.
Yeah, that
Um,
I never watched that.
she did some other stuff as well. Like I'm looking at her actual
Mm-hmm.
credits, like TV credits, because she did one episode of the Hughleys, one episode of the Bernie Mac show, an episode of Girlfriends. Like she was a here and there.
Yeah, she was
Couple of
placed in.
episodes of the game.
Yeah, she was placed in
Hmm.
here and there.
But um I'm gonna assume that there were no issues on the set of the Parkers. I'm gonna assume that there was no issues on the set of Moesha. Um, that's the assumption. Now, again, I don't really know.
Yeah, I remember that.
What was it? She talked
She
about it
she
with
talked
Shannon.
about
She
the amount of money she made a episode versus how much everybody else was making. That'd be her biggest complaint, though, right?
well, the amount of money per episode is your ignorance to the system.
Yeah, and that's what she was saying. She didn't know. She wished she had somebody that said it's okay to fight for this.
Hmm.
She's dying on the sword on I want equality,
Hmm.
but the for me,
I
right?
want backhanded equality,
Right,
though,
right. But for me,
or
it
not backhanded. What's the word?
uh I don't know. I know what you're saying. You want to go back and get the equality.
Retro.
Yeah, retro equality. But the thing that I'm saying, because the Taraji Henson part came up, and I think it was like she has a beef with Oprah,
Hmm.
right? And nobody thinks Oprah did enough.
Hmm.
But it's like, man, it's hard to say, man, because it's like, what do you do in that situation? And the way that she was explaining things to me in that interview, it was more so of, I want to be a person that the younger girls are looking up to, or the
Hmm.
younger people are looking to say, hey, I want, this is what I want.
Hmm.
If you don't give it to me, find somebody else to do it.
So I have a cousin, Crystal,
Yeah.
who has been that person in my life
Hmm.
to tell me that everything is negotiable,
Yeah.
right? Because in the position that we as Black people typically are in, it's a, I don't have the means to pass on this.
Yeah.
I need this
Yeah.
to get to the next step.
Yeah.
And so you were out here doing comedy, like
Yeah.
stand up,
Yeah.
touring, and you get the opportunity to basically plant your feet somewhere
Hmm.
and be stable in that place. And not to say that your home isn't stable,
Yeah.
but
This
I
is
don't have to go on the road. I don't have to
right,
be
right,
gone
right.
every weekend. You don't want to pass that opportunity up. So you take it.
Hmm.
You don't know that there's a contract to be negotiated.
Hmm.
And so I get that. That's what you did. But on this side of it, the Parkers went off the air in what, 20? She mentioned it in the interview.
I think it was like 2003, 2004, something like that.
Oh, 04. Parkers went off the air in 2004. It's 20 years later.
Hmm.
Maybe them people done made their money
Yeah.
and they done spent it too.
Hmm. Some of it. I mean, like, that's the thing, right? That's the thing. It's like, why has everybody wronged you,
Hmm.
right? And then also, what part did you play? Like, it's always when it comes to her, and I hate it about this because I always thought she was funny until this last Netflix stand up. It didn't make me laugh.
I've never thought, like, we've seen
I saw
Mo'Nique
when she was
in
at school,
college.
when she
Yeah.
came to school,
I
I
didn't
thought she
think
was
that that
funny.
show was funny. I didn't
I
think that
did.
this stand-up special was funny. And I honestly don't even remember, which tells me it couldn't have been that funny. The Queens of Comedy.
Queens of Comedy was funny,
I don't remember it.
but anyway,
Like I
yeah,
remember
the Kings of
the
Comedy,
Kings. Well,
Bernie Mac,
yes.
yeah, said the
Um,
entertainer. Apparently, he stole some jokes. That's on the
Man,
Kings of Comedy.
I mean, from what Cat put out, I could see
Yeah.
your
I
argument.
mean, like they were similar, but
I can
you know.
see your argument.
Anyway,
But I don't remember anything. Maybe I'll revisit it. I don't
yeah.
know,
Um,
but I don't remember.
but that was the thing about that's the thing about Mo'Nique. It's like every time she comes and talks, she has a grievance to address, which it's
He come down so fast.
yeah, he does. Lily comes down faster.
Uh-huh.
In which is a negative grievance. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's always somebody has done this to you and there's no resolve. At what point do you give up on asking for, like, you give up? What Country Rain tell just to do?
Um,
Get some more.
he told her to do something else in her career so he can stop being asked about.
Yeah. So it's almost that sense, right? Why you always bringing up Tyler Perry? If he doesn't apologize to you, how do you move forward? Right. How do you move forward with things? You know what I'm saying? Dude, here, man. But it's like it's that part, right? How do you move forward with what you're asking for if you don't get it? And if you do get it, what then? You know, do you still have the same grievance? How do you make sure that things for you and your family get better? Because like we all have setbacks, we all have things that don't work out in our favor, and if we harp on it for too long, it becomes a crutch for us. It becomes a thing that we have to deal with all the time, and we not able to go on to be great, you know. And it's like, what are you really truly asking for? Because if he apologizes, what does like? How does that make you?
It gives
What
her
does it?
less to talk about
What does it do for you?
when she goes on radio interviews. Um, V says I thought of that about the Kevin Hart story. Like, why didn't you move on to someone else? I have heard that or read something about 50 Cent saying that he would employ her.
Yeah,
I'm guessing. You just got to move on to the next
person.
power player.
Yeah,
Um, there's gonna be somebody around here that's gonna have an issue with. There's always an issue with somebody, and I'm not talking about Mo'Nique, but like there are people that don't like you, right?
is it?
No matter how many people have good things to say about you, there's somebody somewhere that even if they like you, they could find something bad to say
Oh yeah,
about you, right?
yeah,
So you're never gonna get a person that's gonna come off as like clean straight
yeah,
across the board,
yeah.
nothing to say about you. However, um, she commended Kevin for the money and then turned right back around and was like, if you talk to him, I talk to him.
Yeah,
That wasn't necessarily a story that had to be told. I
yeah.
get why it was told, but doesn't necessarily have to be a thing. I hope that she gets what she's looking for. I think in the position that she is in, she should be like Shannon Sharp and finance her own thing.
And that's the thing. That's the whole thing that I be thinking about is if they owe you money, sue them for it. Yes,
Mhm.
it kind of ruins your career in Hollywood, but like, look at what you're doing now.
Well, I'm not even saying sue them for it because if you don't want to sue them for that and you're letting that go,
But let it go if you're gonna let it
that's
go.
what I'm saying. If you're letting the financial part of it go, I'm saying for her career, she obviously wants to do this talk show because that was a
Yeah,
conversation with Kevin Hart.
yeah.
She wants to get this talk show back. We watched T.S. Madison and Kaya do a talk show
We watched.
in T.S. Madison's living room,
Hold
right?
on, time out, time out. Before we go any further, Sukiana
Oh,
and
and
this
Bobby.
and Bobby. I'm not a fan of Bobby.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how she got to the point of where she is with interviewing Drake. Drake put her on,
Mm-hmm.
and she's had interviews with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
But Sukiana said she was like, Bobby said, "How are you a musician or something?"
And
She
she heard
said,
magician.
and she heard magician,
Mm-hmm.
magician, and was like, went sideways. But anyway, Mo'Nique, the opportunity for Mo'Nique to, and she would be able to, or should, right? If
Mhm.
she's managing her money right, she shouldn't have to get um like sponsors and stuff like that to put her show on.
Not even just that. We, you and I,
Yeah,
did a podcast from our bedroom.
we did. We did.
It moved out of our bedroom to an office space when we like not an office space, but
Yeah.
a room
Yeah.
that we set up as an office when we moved out of that place. So we were living in a 2-bedroom. We have nowhere else to go.
Right. Right.
And then it moved from there to our own house.
Yeah.
You can't tell me Mo'Nique don't have an extra bedroom in her house.
It's not even that. You can't tell me she can't go rent a space.
I'm not trying to count your money. You can't tell me as an empty nester,
Yeah.
you don't have a room in your house that you can set up. We watch all types of people do podcasts, do talk shows,
Hmm.
set up things out of their homes.
Yeah.
DeVal and Kadeen Ellis do that out of a room in their
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
These people are not going out, and he has positive income coming in
Right. Right.
from acting. They're still in their house.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Mo'Nique can start off in her home until she gets the money
Yeah.
to move to a space.
And
Because again, if money is the issue, because you put this on here, you can't make me believe that it's gonna take Mo'Nique a long time to monetize on YouTube.
nah.
Mo'Nique can monetize on one episode.
Yeah.
Mo'Nique can monetize on a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Put this stuff out, let it make the money, and then let them call you with an offer.
Right.
That's what Issa Rae did in Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah.
She didn't even, I don't want to say she didn't finance it because she did, but she got with people who wanted to be in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
I want to act. I want to write. I want to produce. I want to direct. I just want to be the cameraman.
Mm-hmm.
She got this collective of people together and she shot several web shows.
Yeah.
She put them on YouTube
Yeah.
and let that money funnel into something else until she could do better, until
Right.
she could get the budgets.
She did.
She did mention that Oprah was her inspiration. I get it. Okay.
Don't meet your heroes.
I hear that.
Because your heroes are human, man. Like,
I hear that. It's just one of those things where if you start where you are, because that is the important part.
yeah.
Like, that's the thing that people that have like blown up on the internet always say. Start where you are.
Yeah.
If you start where you are and use what you have, you'll be able to soar to the sites that you want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always going to be people like us that I don't have an end goal of getting a talk show, right?
Yeah.
So
They have a podcast. I didn't know that. Why she didn't?
that would have been, I did know that they have that
Did you?
podcast. I did. But when he asked her what is she promoting,
She said, "Just stay tuned." Like
Mo'Nique and Sydney's open relationship. We go live every Thursday.
Yeah.
Why not do that? Literally, we get on with Jack and Glenn on Sundays.
And say, "Hey, we're gonna be here Saturday morning to go live."
Right.
For the Love Brew podcast.
Tommy is posting a Black History fact
Right.
every day in the month of February. Well,
Yeah.
most days in the month of February.
Yeah, most days. It's recorded.
But
already.
it's a thing to just say what you're doing. It doesn't have to be some big grand, I got a starring role in a movie.
Yeah.
Your talk show does not have, granted, I think her talk show was on BET.
I'm not sure.
It don't have to go through some big production house. You and Sydney know how to turn on the computer camera to do this podcast and record it and upload it onto the internet.
Like, hold on. This is the thing that I always talk about. That like I always wonder where does grants and business loans come in, and how would we benefit from it?
Mhm.
Being able to hire an editor,
Mhm.
being able to hire an actual camera person, being able to hire an engineer, things that I'm doing.
Mhm. It lessens the load for you to be able to do something else.
Better.
Right.
You know?
If I know that my weak point is editing, but my strong point um is coming up with the show ideas to actually produce the show, to executive produce the
Yeah.
show, I'm gonna sit down, I'm gonna turn on this camera, I'm gonna upload this footage to somebody that I can afford to
Right.
do it, and then I'm moving on to the next thing.
Right. Better equipment.
I could just literally just say, okay, I'm gonna sit down here and I'm gonna record 5 episodes and I'm gonna off put them to an editor. You let me know when they ready. Not you let me know. I
This is
need
what I
them
need.
ready in this order by this date.
Yeah.
Send them to me as you get them.
Yeah.
Need you to be done with it. But I can guarantee you that there's people out here. I don't know where Mo'Nique is based at, but
Somewhere USA.
there's always a Tommy who could use an extra how much money you would charge for editing
Yeah.
services that you could call and be like, we recorded this, we put it out. Like, I need you to get us put it out there.
Yeah.
There's always somebody that you don't have to hire a full-time staff to do this. Like, you have people that their job is to give you these things daily. You
Yeah.
use your connections, people that you know. Like, we know one thing, Hunt Cat Williams School.
Yeah.
All right.
I think they finna go on tour.
Cat's gonna be my first guest. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
From my phone,
Mm-hmm.
I can pull these people out.
Yeah.
I don't have a bad relationship with Martin Lawrence.
Let me get him.
Let me get Martin Lawrence on the show.
Yeah. That's the way we think of it, and and I promise you, we probably looking at it from a different lens than Mo'Nique.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mo'Nique is looking at it from the lens of y'all good with them computers.
Yeah.
Because how many times did she say that?
Y'all that's good with the computers. Look it up.
Y'all babies, look it up.
But I just feel like it's like for me, right? I keep saying that because I don't want people to be like, well, form your own opinion about it.
Yeah, no, I'm not talking about what she said at all. But the position of I want to do a talk show.
Yeah, do it.
I could do a talk show.
Yeah.
Like Artieka could do a talk show with what I have right now. Yeah, my guests would be trash, but I could do a talk show.
Guests wouldn't be trash. It's just who you have.
No, I'm saying in the position that I'm in the time frame that I have to do it.
Yeah.
Because I got kids. I don't want them running through the videos.
Your guests will be your kids first.
Pretty much.
Your husband, your cousin. Then you branch out to people they know.
Yeah. Like it would have to be that thing. But Mo'Nique has an organic reach of people who we should want to hear from.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And who we could want to hear from. And she knows people's backstories to find the fascinating angle of what the general public would want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
She just got to do it.
Yeah.
She just got to do it. Talent seems to frequently struggle with the business part. That's what her husband's job is.
Yeah. I don't.
He her manager.
But the thing the thing that's not understanding from that interview is what you want.
Mm-hmm.
What's your end goal in saying Tyler Perry owes me an apology, Oprah owes me an apology, DL Hughley he wasn't the headliner the contract said, but he didn't show up to this, and then now we're having this beef because his people was playing the game and he just didn't.
And I don't understand how that became as big as it was. I just wouldn't do DL show no more.
I wouldn't just do,
and DL wouldn't be like,
right. I wouldn't do business with DL.
Right. End of discussion.
Right. Like, yeah, me and him, this happened. Me and him don't really. He ain't my brother no more.
That's not enough for me to even talk about.
Yeah.
He might have pissed me off, but that's not enough for me to talk about.
Right. It's like you have to. Because I don't want to belittle her feelings and the way that she expresses it, but from the outside looking in, it's like a lot of this stuff you can just let go and just not deal with these people no more. Now, if you're still trying to have a career in Hollywood, you're gonna have to let something go.
A lot of somethings go,
because then the idea that you're difficult to work with becomes that you are difficult to work with because you want this, you want that, and all I'm willing to give is this.
But like I was telling you recently, the power players are changing, right?
Yeah.
Like Steve Harvey has what he has in Hollywood, but Steve Harvey is not the end all be all
And that was another
to
thing too.
gatekeep in Hollywood, right?
One thing about it before you finish your statement,
Hmm.
and I'm sorry to
Go
keep
ahead.
interrupting you, but the idea, because the thing with Steve Harvey, or her beef with Steve Harvey is, I've worked to get to what I want,
Hmm.
and you want me to say X, Y, and Z to give it up. You can't expect it, and you have to respect the person that's like, no, this is what I worked for, and this is how I got it. I let them have it.
Yeah.
You can't be mad because a person, like, if I worked for $100,000 and this is my job and this is what I do,
Hmm.
right? If that was my goal, like, hey, I want to get to $100,000. I know, excuse me, I know if somebody came along and if I wasn't willing to give that 100,000 up,
Hmm.
because there's a hit,
Hmm.
right? If somebody comes along and tell me, hey, your employer did X, Y, and Z, you need to say, because I said it, an ex-employee said it, you know, stand with me and do this. I have a choice.
Hmm.
You can't be mad at my choice because you feel a certain type of way, even if I felt that way and just didn't say anything. This is my choice to do.
Hmm.
Unless I wronged you in some type of way,
Hmm.
choose to not deal with me or choose to continue on our friendship.
Hmm.
But don't ask me to do something I'm not comfortable to do and then get mad that I'm not comfortable to do it.
Hmm.
Respect that.
I think that what has to happen is the like I was saying, the power players are changing, right?
Yeah.
You look at somebody like Issa Rae, and I'm not saying that Issa's the perfect person to help,
Yeah.
right? But Issa Rae has put herself in a position to win.
Yeah.
And she's even with the wild success of Insecure and the success of her other show that was on it was on Max, right?
Yeah. Who? Issa Rae?
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
rap-ish.
Yeah.
Um Donald Glover having Atlanta and then moving into Mr. and Mrs. Smith. There's all these people that are doing these projects who you they're not being quote unquote gate kept by the Steve Harveys and the Kevin Harts of the world. Their positions are just different. Like find a way to get in with those people. Narette, I did see that. He said out of respect for her, he never aired that part of the show. However, they got into so much additional beef that it's one of those things that it's never going to be resolved.
Yeah.
So since it's never going to be resolved, that's just one of those bridges that has burned in Hollywood. So we'll just leave it alone. Lily just said quiet went to sleep in her room. Um, but again, the power players have changed, but you also can put it into your own hands. You can pull a Shannon Sharp and set yourself up with a Club Shay Shay type environment. T Pain literally records a podcast out of his studio
Mm-hmm. They have people in.
and has a lot of people in. Carlos Miller, Chico Bean, and DC Young Fly rented a space,
Yep.
and that has like become a thing. People come to Atlanta to go on the 85 South show.
Kev on stage is who I model.
Kev on stage, man, Kev on stage.
Has inspired me to do so much stuff.
The admirable thing about how he has set up is that he has absolutely taken his people with him.
Yeah.
Like his sister-in-law lost her job at Netflix and he was able to figure out a way to incorporate her into his staff.
For a second, okay?
Her husband works for them. Like it's an amazing thing to watch to see people take their people with them because that's not typically a thing that we do, right?
Yeah.
Not in the way that he's doing it. And I think that
It's, I know
Mo'Nique has to start where she is. she's got to do something bigger than her and
She
daddy.
got to stop complaining about the same thing.
That's what I'm saying. Do
Yeah.
something bigger than her and daddy. Because I think, I'm not saying that her husband is not good for her in business, because I don't know that. He's negotiated some deals for her that a lot of people's spouses have not been able to negotiate for them.
Yeah.
But I do also believe that there's a position that they are in, and there's a reason that they are in this position. And that reasoning may be you need to go for it by yourself.
Yeah.
You don't always need the big dollar sign behind you, because, like I use Issa as an example, I can use the pennies in my pocket to get to the big dollar sign.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
just, it's a thing.
Yeah.
We've been on here far too
We
long.
have. I was like, man, I'm gonna let her finish. Then we gotta get off of here, man. It's Saturday.